Bang! Knives Knives. I'm Jared, and we're going to go through 10 affordable knives really fast. Here is the SITIVIEN ST132. It's in D2 steel, drop point blade, multiple deployments. So you have the flipping action, which is really good. SITIVIEN does do really good action and good detents. Great access to the lock bar, nice early detent when you unlock it, so it's easy to get past, and it is very smooth. Then you have the reverse flicking action. Very comfortable in the hand. This is something you can get a lot of leverage into. They did do a good choil and plunge grind, which I always appreciate because it allows you to lay back the angle when you sharpen. We do have a little plate here so you can reverse the clip over to the other side. It is inset. Button screws, but you know, it does work relatively well. It is somewhat cheaper, some sort of micarta handle material, but it's an extremely affordable knife. And by the way, everything will be linked down in the description, but this is a great option for those of you that are looking for something very affordable. I did get a little bit of detent lash on a couple of my SITIVIENs. This one's just fine, and most of them have been fine, but I have gotten that on a couple models. Next is the KANSEPT KRYO. Now, this comes in so many different options. They have a mini KRYO, they have a premium KRYO in titanium. Lots of different options with this one. Fantastic action. Fantastic reverse flick action, super comfortable. This is the large one, and with the large one I can get a full 4-finger grip. This corner right here doesn't bother me at all. Burlap micarta, decent micarta, good access to the lock bar. Again, very smooth action. You can also thumb flick this one. It does have somewhat of a, it's really not a recurve. I might have sharpened it out, but I think it had a tiny bit of recurve, but it's so small that you can get it out. And yeah, I'm not even sure if it really does because it's so small, but great drop point blade. Not going to be the best for utility cuts, but you can get by, but it does have good cutting performance in 154 cm. Oh no, I'm sorry. This one's in D2. Sorry, D2 steel. I don't know why I thought 154. D2 steel. Oh, I know why. Because they have another model that I have that's in 154. But D2 steel again. And the next one is a new knife. I'm not even sure if it's available yet. It might be. If it is, everything will be linked down in the description. This is the KIZER BEGLEITER TANTO. But I have to say, this is a very well done TANTO. Because of the spine, if you look, actually I still have a marker on it from where I sharpened it. It goes up and then you see how it drops back down. Now that allows you to get to the tip, the primary tip, very easily. The secondary tip's also easy to get to. Super thin behind the edge, 13 thousandths. It does have a flat grind up here and then a hollow right here. Extremely good geometry. Nice and comfortable in the hand. Great quality micarta. Deep carry clip that is reversible and adjustable. Good access to the lock bar, and it is fall shut action. Some of the best thumb stud action are on these BEGLEITERs. It is so good. Lots of jimping up the spine. You can get up nice and tight to the edge. It's a fantastic knife, and this one is in 154 cm blade steel. Oh yeah, also they improved the sharpening choil a little bit on this one than it was previously. Could be a little bit better, but you know, it's decent, and I've already sharpened it. Next, this is one of its cousins actually, the KIZER DOMIN. Possibly my favorite new KIZER. KIZER's always coming. Actually, I can't say that. The drop bear is probably my favorite, but this is a great knife. Especially for the money. This is such a good knife. We have a hollow ground sheepsfoot blade in 154 cm. Fantastic micarta. It also comes in another option that is a satin finish without the coating with a tan micarta. And the action is so good. Again, very similar to the BEGLEITER we just checked out. Great thumb stud action. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the thumb studs on this one are larger than the previous BEGLEITER. The original BEGLEITER had a little bit smaller thumb studs, so this one gives you a little bit larger thumb studs so you can push off a little bit easier. This one has the standard thumb studs, but they're still really, really good because the detent is so solid. Good ergos, very comfortable in the hand. Reversible deep carry clip that is adjustable. Again, good access to the lock bar. And this one has a really good sharpening choil and plunge grind. But this geometry of this blade, it's so good for everyday carry use. You can get them nice and tight to the edge for good push cuts, pinch grips, utility cuts, the whole 9 yards. It's just a fantastic choice for EDC. Next, the VOSTEED Nightshade. Now, you either love it or hate it, and I think if you used it, you'd love it because it is such a good knife. It has somewhat of a kukri-esque to it. It's actually a shilling cutter, and the shilling cutters are made to be used. Like I know all knives' intended purposes is to be used, but some blade shapes just don't work out great for multi-purpose. This is a fantastic multi-purpose blade. Utility cuts. The spine aims down towards what you're cutting, so utility cuts are amazing. This thing can do great utility cuts. When you're push cutting, it traps the material into the edge. When you're pull cutting, when you're cutting straps, ropes, anything like that, it traps the material. So you get the benefits of a recurve without it being recurved. So it's going to be easy to sharpen, but you're going to get the benefits of a recurve. 154 CM blade steel again. Great access to the lock bar. Complete fall shut action. Crowned spine. And this flipper tab is one of the most comfortable flipper tabs ever. I mean, it's so comfortable. You can easily push button very comfortably or light switch. Both are extremely comfortable because it's rounded and it has this nice fine jimping. It just works great. You can reverse flick it if you're good at reverse flicking knives that, or where you're just using the texture of the blade. But I can't scream about this one enough. Fantastic knife. Also, inset clip with flat screws. The clip works great. Next, we'll just show both of them because we have the mini and the big one, and this is the petrified fish beluga. So this is the mini beluga, and this one's the big one. Big one is a full-size work knife in K110 steel, which is D2. That's what it is. It has this fuller that runs down for the reverse flick, but then you also have the top flipper. Both work great, but the fuller works really good for the reverse flick. They come in lots of different options. This one's in the blue micarta, but there's lots of other micarta options. Good access to the lock bar, great sharpening choil and plunge grind. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. The plunge grind could be a little bit better, but I'm not too mad at it. This price is really, really good. Reversible deep carry clip with nothing in the way. The clip works super good. You can thumb flick it. It is so comfortable. If you need to bear down on some stuff, like and really, really, grit your teeth bearing through materials, this is a great choice. It feels like you're hanging on to a fixed blade. Now, again, same thing, just in a tighter, smaller package, and I could still get a full 4-finger grip, and this still has really good ergo, so I can still bear down just with a lot smaller blade. Great sharpening choil and plunge grind, and in this case, they did give you a perfect plunge grind. The other one, it's not exactly the same because it kind of tapers rather than just dramatically cuts off. I love it when they do it just like this, where you can see the end of the plunge grind very obviously. This one has the multicolored G10, but it does come in multiple other options as well. Good access to the lock bar, super duper smooth. Reversible deep carry clip, again, nothing in the way, great clip. I don't like the beluga stamp, but it works great right-handed or left-handed, but this one has one massive improvement. 14C 28N, love the steel, and to me that is a massive upgrade for this knife, even though it is the smaller one. Next, this is the SENCUT SACHSE. Now the SENCUT SACHSE does come in a couple different options as well as far as handle material goes. This one's the brown micarta one, 9CR18 MOV steel, great detent, or what acts as a detent from the button lock. Fantastic blade shape for EDC, drop point blade with a beautiful swedge. I have already sharpened this, and boy did it take a very good edge. 9CR is a very easy steel to sharpen, and it was very easy to hold the angle. The diamonds that I used cut the steel extremely well, but of course, you know, because it is more of a simple steel, similar to 440C as far as, you know, its makeup and everything. Now, this is a full-size knife that you can get a full hand grip on, reversible deep carry clip, T8 hardware all the way around, and it is a button lock that is on bearings. It's stupid smooth. You can use the button to deploy it. I do have a little bit of button stick too, but you can use the button as long as you're holding it. You can swing it open and let it go, but it has multiple deployments too with the thumb studs and the flipper. Now that I put a new edge on it, I mean, the edge was fine before, but I wanted to put my own angle on it, and wow, did it take a sharp edge. But fantastic knife. The only problem is I think they're sold out in most places, but I think there might be one place you can get them from. If possible, I'll link it down in the description. If not, they should be back in stock very soon. But I do think SENCUT has a couple models available. But yeah, let's check out the next one. Now, this next one's kind of grown on me. So one, this is the budget version of the original, this is the Synergy. So they have the original Synergy, or the Synergy 2. I think this is the Synergy 3. Anyways, the Synergy comes in 20 CV and a titanium integral. This is, you know, a budget version with G10 scales and a liner lock, but the liner is only on one side, which is the lock bar side. Now, the integral is made out of one solid piece of titanium and is very expensive, but they recently came out. They have a mini version, they have a spear point version, or I think it's called a drop point from their specs. But hollow ground, all the good stuff, man. The thing is just amazing. I love it. I'm thinking about getting it because it really is a badass knife. Now, this particular one with this blade shape is not usually my cup of tea. However, because of the way it angles, the blade kind of angles downward a little bit, it makes it to where, you know, actual slicing works really good. It doesn't slide out of cuts like a lot of trailing points do. And utility cuts are not as hard as a lot of utility cuts are usually on trailing points. This one actually works out pretty decent, or at least not bad. So because of these little details, even like in a reverse grip, the blade kind of aims towards you. So, you know, ropes and straps are not going to slip out from around the blade as easily as it usually does with a trailing point. But, you know, I still would prefer, you know, the tip to be down a little bit lower, possibly a spear point, drop point, more style blade rather than this trailing point where the spine trails up. Now, this one is in Nitro V steel and is a flat grind, not a hollow, which I'd prefer the hollow as well. But like I said, this knife has kind of grown on me because it's actually a lot more functional than I would have anticipated, because in many cases, trailing points are just not that functional for everyday carry. For certain tasks, yes, but not for multitasks. But this one happens to work out really good. The flipper tab is nice and small. You can get them nice and tight to that edge very comfortably. The ergos are also very comfortable. Has lots of great texture. The liner's relatively easy to get to. Nice and smooth. Crowned spine, which is a nice little touch. Good sharpening tool and plunge grind. Deep carry clip that is inset with flat screws. Not reversible though. Fantastic action, but great looking knife, and it actually does function really good, and you know, would be a great self-defense knife as well. Now we have two more. The KIZER Hiccup, another button lock. Now this one comes in a couple different options. This one is the front flipper and thumb stud hole deployment, but they have a regular flipper version as well. Now, I really like this one with the thumb studs on. You can take them off and then just use the hole, but with the thumb studs, it makes it to where it feels like this is a big hole to deploy from. Then when you want to thumb flick, you have the leverage on the thumb stud that works extremely, extremely well. 154 cm blade steel. Again, which 154 cm is possibly one of the best. 14C28N, Nitro V, and 154 cm are going to be the best budget steels you can get. Obviously, if you can get S35VN on a budget, yeah, that's great. But we usually don't see that. Somewhat of a spearish drop point style blade, a little bit more of robust geometry. Great micarta scales. This micarta is really, really good. Very, very soft, very smooth. The action is amazing. And the front flipper does work well because the jimping goes all the way up and around. So it's very easy to deploy. And like I said, very comfortable in the hand. Since this is not the flipper version, you can get up nice and tight to the edge without hitting the flipper. Reversible deep carry clip that does have flat screws. Not in set, but it works great. The action is stupid smooth. I mean, the detent that, or the resistance that comes out of this for a button lock just works great. And it's just a solid one. Solid piece, solid knife, looks really good. Great blade shape for EDC. Easy to get to the utility cuts. Like I said, it is a little bit more on the robust side, but if you lay back your angle when you sharpen, it's going to be great. And the plunge grind and sharpening choil is not bad either. And like I said, a couple different options with that one. And then last, we have the KANSEPT KTC3. I always mix the letters up. This one it's really grown on me because it's compact, it's small, it's not large, but you have this recurved hawkbill blade with a dual grind. Now, you can easily use this thing for a lot of multi-purpose. Like, obviously, this tip is going to work great for utility cuts, but then if you have a box, you can pinch grip it and easily get around the box to open it up. If you're cutting cardboard or anything like that, this hawkbill will trap the material so your knife will not come out of the cuts. Same thing when you cut straps and things like that, but then also it's going to be, somewhat good in a self-defense situation as well. And the handle is small and compact, but that's also the beauty of it. You can't pull this out of my hand if I did have it in that type of situation. But it still allows me to get a full 4-finger grip. Not the biggest, not the most comfortable, but it's solid in my hand. It's something that's not going to move around at all in my hand, which works well for regular cutting purposes and also for the circumstance. Let's just say that. The clip has somewhat of a spoon-shaped clip that does work great. The clip works great. It is a titanium milled pocket clip. G10 scales. Steel liner lock, good access to the liner, nice and smooth on the drop. You have dual fullers that work as a reverse flick or for the reverse flick, and then you have the flipper tab. 154 cm blade steel, once again. The geometry is thinner right up here, a little bit more robust back here. Not bad for the blade shape and the style of use that it's for. The slow roll works great because it's nice and grippy with the dual fullers. And it locks up very solid. Lots of standoffs back there, so the whole build is nice and solid. Big hardware except for on the clip. Not a reversible clip, though. This little spoon up here, really helps you lock in your pointer finger or thumb if you do need to get a little bit more leverage towards the tip. But solid knife. And like I said, man, when you actually carry it and use it, you realize and you get all the benefits, and it really does show you. Now, I do have a full sharpening video on this where I did sharpen it live. So if you want to check that out, I recently did that. That was a members live, but you guys can watch it now. Or you guys can watch it. But yeah, there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.